Finally, let's talk about authentication, and I will be explaining a system called OneLogin here. Rather than managing users locally, it's best to manage users elsewhere in the system. You don't want to replicate the efforts that someone else already did, because most companies already have a user database. You don't want to recreate another one in Jenkins. All enterprise companies use a central user database, often called a directory service, like Active Directory or LDAP. If you already have this set up, then it's quite easy for you. At the Configure Global Security page, you just select LDAP and input the settings provided to you by the AD group. So if you're using an Active Directory or LDAP system, then you can configure Jenkins in just a few steps. You just need to enter a few text fields at the Configure Global Security when you select LDAP, and then you're actually finished. You don't even have to follow this lecture, because then your Jenkins will be connected to the directory service of your company, and then people that have a company account will be able to use these credentials to log into Jenkins. If you are not in an enterprise environment, then you will either have to set up LDAP yourself or go for a hosted solution. Or obviously you can still use Jenkins local database, but that's only if you don't have a directory service. But I wouldn't really recommend the local database in a production environment. Only maybe if you have a few users and if you have a really small deployment, you can go with local users. Otherwise, you just go for a hosted solution, a hosted directory service somewhere. One of the best hosted solutions, I think, is OneLogin.com. It's used by a lot of companies to manage their users' directories. OneLogin can also be linked to Jenkins to let OneLogin handle the authentication process. You can link it through something that is called SAML. SAML is Security Assertion Markup Language. It is an XML-based open standard data format for exchanging authentication and authorization data between parties. OneLogin is not the only one using SAML. Also, you can use, for instance, Google itself to use SAML. So if you have a directory service somewhere and that directory service supports SAML, then there's a possibility that you can link it with Jenkins. I'm going to use OneLogin as a directory service, and then we're going to use SAML to link it. So once SAML has been set up, OneLogin will handle the authentication part. When you then want to add more users, you will have to add more users to OneLogin. OneLogin can provision users from other sources like Google, like other directory services. So you don't always have to make users manually in OneLogin. You can still import them from somewhere else. OneLogin also provides multi-factor authentication. So you can have a token on your cell phone that you need to then log into Jenkins. Unfortunately, OneLogin is not cheap, and it also suffered from data breaches in the past, but it's still a very straightforward and secure way to manage your users. OneLogin is using SAML. So I'm just going to demo how SAML integration works with OneLogin. But if you have another provider that provides SAML, then obviously you can link it with that other provider. In the next demo, I will show you how OneLogin works with Jenkins.